Hello friends, welcome to final part of the sub-series JavaEE, EJP, JPA, JPAQL. So before we end this sub-series, we will learn some more JPAQL techniques. So let me quickly go through the slides. Some other JPAQL techniques. Now we know how to use JPAQL. We used JPAQL to retrieve multiple entities, to retrieve a single entity, to form where conditions. To pick a field selectively, so here if you see, as usual we write select from entity name and alias, and if you see here sac.pname, sac.balance. So we know that our saving account entity contains three fields. One is ID, another one is the person name, and then balance. And if you see here, we are using the pname and balance, and we are skipping this. Previously when we used select SAC, that means we used the entire entity. Here we are not using the entire entity. That means here we are picking the partial field. That means we are not picking the ID, but we pick pname and balance. That means the returned value will not be the saving account entity. So we will see that now. Let us see how to return single field and process it. So here if you see string JPAQL select sac.pname. So here in the select list we have only one field name from saving account SAC. Then as usual we can create the query, we can pass our JPAQL. The return value is the tricky part here. So here it is a query, and when you execute query.get result list, here we get list of string, not the list of savings account. Why? Because here we are not selecting the SAC. The query is not like this here. Select SAC from savings account SAC. So if the query is like this, the return value will be list of savings account if it returns multiple records. But here we select a single field, and we know the data type of this field, it is a string. So the return value here will be list of string accounts. So instead of accounts we can here put account holder names. Alright, so here we retrieved a single field. So when we transform this in native query format, it will come like select. So column name I forgot, let's assume a person name from savings. So that's the table name, right? Savings SC. So if you see here, we select a specific column from the table savings account, and its equivalent JPAQL is select entity dot field name. The field name p name here will map to the database column person name from saving account SAC. So query part over here, the return value will be, since we are returning only one field, it's not a complete entity, so instead it's a string, and if we retrieve 20 records, then it's a collection of string. That's why here we use a list of string accounts. So that's one part. So now to read it, if we go for accounts, because this is list, right, get index is 0, first row, here it's not 0, 1. If we specify index 1, we specify second row. So if this query returns say 3 rows, it will be like this, right? 3 rows, column name is person name, and when we see here, it is a person name, specific field name, SAC is a savings account entity, P name is a specific field, and data type of that specific field is a string. So we have collection of a string or 3 string. So there are 3 string, and index if you see 0, 1, 2. So that's why accounts dot get 0, that will return the first string in this location. That means the first row. So whatever is the value here, that will get returned. Here whatever is the string value, that will get returned. So this is how we have to read. Now when the list contains multiple field, list in the sense this one, also this list, so the time we have to use the obj array first field and second field. Before that, let us look at the JPA SQL select. This time our select list contains 2 fields. One is person name and another one is balance. So in this case, since we returned a single field, we used a list of string. So if balance is integer in the savings account, then sac.balance, here we will go with a list of integer object, a boxed one. So here in this case, it's a combination, right? There are 2 fields, so it's not an entity, it's not a single field also. There are 2 fields from our entity. Alright, so create query, JPA SQL, we have a query, get result list, and this is where it is important, list of, well, because the list can be any number, right? It depends based on your entity. So some entity may have 3 fields, some entity may have 20 fields, and in the 20 field you don't know in what order you will pick the field and how many field you pick. Out of 20 you may pick 1, 2, 3, 4 field, and or 6, 9, 11, 16. So these are all the fields. So we don't know how many number of fields we will pick. So that's why the return here multiple field means there are 2 fields here in this example. We state list of object array. So it will be like this. Object array means depends on how many list. So here in the select we have 2 lists. That means this is not there. 2, that's the object array. 1 array, second object array. If this query returns 4 rows, there will be 4 object array, and all this 4 object array is collected in a list. So this list will be, so this is the entire list we can say, and it is a list of object array. So this is the object array inside the list. Each one is the object array. You see how it goes. And the field are, this is p name balance, right? This is p name, so it will appear in the same order, p name balance, p name balance. So that's how we have to process. And system.out.println, if you see how we are processing it, accounts get 0, this portion, it is from the list method. Accounts is nothing but a list. So list.get at 0th index. Index 0, 1, 2, 3. So accounts.get 0 means the very first object array. Then here we are dereferencing it, or we are using the index of operator and we specify 0. That means since it's a object array, here also we have index, right? 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. So from list.get 0, we retrieve this first row. Then with a square bracket we specify 0, that means we get this person name. Similarly, accounts.get of 0, again this one. Here we specify 1, that means we retrieve balance. Similarly, if we want to retrieve, let's say here it is A and here it is 101. To retrieve A, we have to use accounts.get index is 3. So accounts.get index of 3, then we need to get the name, right? That means in the object array the notation is 0. So this is how you have to read. So here if you see obj AR 0 first field, obj ARR of 1 second field. Why? Because here our list contains only 2. I mean list means the select list. So that's all here, and you can try this technique yourself. If we may need to make a code change, and the code change will go in different layer, like we need to implement the HTML, then we need to introduce method in our bean, and then we need to put a servlet layer. After that we need to put a presentation layer. So it should go through that flow. Instead you can try it yourself with this notation. So here our select list contains a single field, no issues, no object array. Why? Because it's one field, and whatever is this data type, we can make use of the list here. So p name is a string, list of string. If balance is integer, then a list of integ or integer. Here there are multiple fields, so we should go with the object array and list if it returns multiple rows, just like what we explained here. That's all. This okay, here accounts is a list of all the stuff already explained. So there is no demo here, and we are ending this sub-series. Thank you for watching. Bye. In the next sub-series also we will use JPAQL, and we will learn relation, join, all the stuff. Thanks again for watching. Bye.